to clap my ink-stained hands together and head on down to the feature match area to watch the provider of these stamps mulligan to 5 cards.
Matthias is he's on 5. Billy Anderson looks to be on 7 with his Jund deck, and these players will be given the green light here in just a moment. All right. Matthias going to start things off with a Colony Garden to make a plant token. Nice. Let's go over to Billy Anderson. Oh, you got to use the Elliott Raft plant token. Get that wheat stuff out of here. I should know better. He's been doing this for seriously forever. Don't bring your own tokens here, especially when Elliott Raft is an option.
Of course. So Amulet Titan, a deck that was a lot more popular a few years ago, of course, when Summer Bloom was legal.
That's correct.
But this deck is still legit, and I imagine has a very good matchup against Jund, which is historically soft against Primeval Titan decks of all shapes and sizes.
It's supposed to be good here, that's for sure. As there's a Radiant Fountain, Matthias is going to go up to 22. Billy Anderson's going to search up a Stomping Ground off of his Bloodstained Mire as he falls down to 19. Yes, generally these Amulet Titan decks have been good against Jund in the past. Not as explosive as they used to be, though.
Same with Valakut strategies. But what it comes down to, in my opinion, is Jund has a lot of removal. It isn't the fastest deck. What is the cheapest creature in Modern that has an enter the battlefield trigger good enough that you win the game even if it's immediately killed? That's probably going to be a good recipe against Jund. And I think the answer to that question is Primeval Titan.
Mm-hmm. Here's Dark Confidant.
And it's not like the Jund lists are flush with a lot of removal that even kills Primeval Titan. They got a couple Terminates, maybe a Maelstrom Pulse or 2. But if they're on Abrupt Decays and Fatal Pushes and Bolts, sometimes they can't, even in long games, can't even kill it.
Is it Azusa time? It is. See other lands Matthias has to play, if any, since we don't have a great look at his hand. Azusa lost, but Seeking. 3 mana, 1/2. You may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns. So he gets 2 more land drops. Simic Growth Chamber is 1. He'll pick up Colony Garden, replay the garden, get another Elliott Raft plant token.
And the plants are valuable on a couple fronts here. Jund attacks largely on the ground with a lot of non-trampling creatures, so it's a little bit of cushion for your light total, and protects a significant creature like Primeval Titan or even the Azusa from Liliana of the Veil.
Yeah, all good stuff. Dark Confidant revealed a Bloodbraid Elf. That's why Billy Anderson's down to 15. He looks like he's going to fall down to 13 now. And what do we have next? We have Liliana the Last Hope. Going to do a nice job against those plant tokens. So there is the powerful Planeswalker. No discard spells yet here for Billy Anderson, though. Going to plus take care of 1 Elliott Raft plant token. And now here comes Dark Confidant. Could trade with Azusa here. Kind of interesting, I suppose.
Yeah, if you trade with the Azusa there, then you have nothing to pressure the Liliana to the extent that Hunt cares about that. Also, Hunt's on 5 cards, so this Azusa might not be worth very much to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also math questions. You might want to let Anderson ride with his Dark Confidant a little bit if it increases the likelihood that a Primeval Titan generates an immediate kill.
Matthias thinking pretty long and hard about if he wants to trade here or not. There will be a trade, and now Matthias will draw. There's a Gemstone Mine. Does he have Prime Time? He's got Summoner's Pact. That's good enough.
Yep. 6 mana here. No Amulet, so this is not going to be a full go off here. Matthias is very experienced in the mechanics of this deck.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
It would not surprise me if the route here was Teleria West alongside with a 2 mana land to pick it up. if your expectation is this Primeval Titan's not going to survive, then you want to load up for round number 2. And doing it with Teleria West is a really nice way of handling it because it can't be Thoughtseize or Inquisitioned away.
See exactly what lands Matthias does want to get here.
But this is idle speculation on my part. I
Sure.
know Matthias knows his way around this deck very well.
Well, I think you nailed it.
Okay.
Look at you.
2 mana land plus Teleria West.
Let's get you down there to play Amulet Titan. How about that?
I'm not saying that line was right. I'm confident that it works the way that I think it works.
Sure.
And there are some merit to it. So that's why I selected it.
Well, now we're going to find out if Billy Anderson has a way to get this Primeval Titan off the battlefield, which, truthfully, is not that difficult. Plus this Liliana to take care of the plant token, and the Liliana the Veil would take care of the Primeval Titan. So it actually wouldn't be the hardest thing in the world. We're already seeing him tap some mana here. Yeah, so it's not that tough to take care of the Primeval Titan.
Yep. He's got 4 Liliana the Veil, which count in this spot, 2 Maelstrom Pulses, 1 Terminate. So not actually that flush with the removal, but not unreasonable that he had an answer the first one.
Mm-hmm. Matthias has placed a die on top of his deck to make sure he pays for the Summoner's Pack. Otherwise, he would lose the game.
Part of the issue here from Anderson's side is that when Matthias is going off with the Primeval Titan, when he has more resources to work with, the sorcery speed options no longer count because Matthias can kill in 1 turn.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of pressure on you to have terminated that spot.
Engineer Explosives was the draw. It's kind of nice.
Not shabby.
It's kind of nice, yeah. Seen worse draws. He would have to lose the Gemstone Mine to blow up both those Planeswalkers, but
it's not like his mana is particularly taxed here. The question is then, do you just have enough resources left over to go get Primeval Titan through Teleria West plus Summoner's Pack the following turn?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is no. You can see Matthias is doing the math here. The Liliana's next turn really only amount to discard a card. It might be better for him just to discard the explosives, turn the Teleria West into set up the Teleria West for Summoner's Pack next turn.
Interesting. A lot for Matthias to think about this turn.
So if you do the thing with the Teleria West right now, you're exposing your Summoner's Pact to a discard spell. Probably don't want to do that.
Yep.
And if you lose the Gemstone Mine, you're short on mana to do everything you want to do next turn anyway.
Yep.
And if all this Liliana amounts to is discard a card, it might be better just to get rid of the explosives. Don't even worry about it, and then try to let everything go next turn.
I'm going to start by plussing Liliana the Veil. Both players will discard. There goes a Teleria West and Overgrown Tomb. This will be a discard spell, I have to imagine. Yep, Inquisition of Kozilek. Okay, well, got it. He drew a Primeval Titan. Okay. Liliana, the last hope, will plus up to 6. And now, here comes Bloodbraid Elf. Thoughtseize would probably be the best hit.
I'm really surprised that... oh, I guess the black mana is the bottleneck. I was going to say, really surprised here for Anderson not to play the other Liliana the Veil in the hand and just get the Primeval Titan out of there. He's short on black mana.
Yep.
I was thinking, wow, this play is really greedy, but that's not the issue here. Just short on the black mana.
Bloodbraid Elf will come in for 3. And you see Liliana the Veil and Bloodbraid Elf. Those are the cards in hand for Billy Anderson. So Matthias Hunt will untap and draw with a Primeval Titan in hand. We know he's going to be casting this Primeval Titan. It's the best thing his deck can do. He's already started tapping 6 mana here.
And you can see why this is still an Amulet deck. I think if Matthias had Amulet, it would not be that hard for him to win the game this turn, or even on the first Primeval Titan. Now it's a little bit more challenging.
All right, Primeval Titan number 2. So, that is a land I did not get a great look at. Might be Vesuva. Apologies for the glare at home for our viewers.
So Matthias still has a little bit of time here. His life total is still 19. He's pretty high. The concern is that it's hard for him to set up something over the course of multiple turns because he can't keep cards in his hand.
So it's going to be, boy, what was the name of that stupid card? Boros Garrison and Vesuva. So he's, okay, so I see the plan here.
Yes.
Make multiple plant tokens to make it so that his Primeval Titan will live through Liliana the Last Hope killing 1,
so
and Liliana the Veil minus
the Vesuva copies the garden, that generates a plant. The Boros Garrison picks it up, and he plays the garden as his land drop for the turn. The Liliana can only kill 1 plant here, and then you have another plant cushioning against the Liliana the Veil's Edict. So Anderson needs to have any removal spell to get out from under this, but he has to have it.
Fortunately for him, he does, because he's got another copy of Liliana the Veil. And so this will work to take care of Primeval Titan. So away that goes. Now here will be a pretty healthy attack. At least Harmoglyph is a 6-7 here. Bloodbraid Elf, of course, 3-2. So we attack for 9. Hunt's going to fall down to 10.
And there's a ravine over there among Anderson's land, so next turn is lethal.
Matthias Hunt will draw a card. Can he stay alive? Well, he's reaching for mana, so he can do something here. You draw another Primeval Titan?
I think Matthias would not waste anyone's time here. So if he's playing through this, he did draw something relevant.
I'm inclined to agree. I guess you got to figure out what Primeval Titan can get if that's what he found.
Well, you got to be able to go get the
Old Sudholm?
Yeah, that's got to be the setup here.
Or Slayer Stronghold?
You have to give haste and.
All right, prime time. Third one of the game. So there's Slayer Stronghold and a bounce land and Gruul Turf. So Gruul Turf is going to return Slayer Stronghold because Matthias hasn't played a land yet this turn. So that'll be his land drop for the turn. Okay. Now he'll give Primeval Titan haste. And +2, +0, and vigilance. We can't forget about all that stuff. In for 8. I'm not sure where it's going to go. Looks like it's going to go Liliana the Last Hope. Matthias will resolve his Primeval Titan trigger. Get 2 more lands.
Brandon Patrick, and your waiver is ready to begin. Please return to silence where you registered. Brandon Patrick, to silence.
Looks like he's thinking about getting Talair West. You see he's got a Ghost Quarter that's available here. He's already used his Vesuva. His Radiant Fountain's already on the battlefield. He's already played his land for the turn. Looks like he's going to get Ghost Quarter and Gruul Turf. Okay.
So if you pick up.
And pick up Vesuva.
So you would need to have something like Explore in this spot to be able to make your extra land drop. Are there any?
Hey, he plays 4.
Okay. And then you can play whatever your land is untapped.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you make a Ghost Quarter here to cover yourself against the ravine and hope that Anderson can't generate lethal.
Well, that's Explore. He'll draw a card.
Or you could copy the garden and just make a chump blocker.
Yep, that too. Chump blocker on Tarmogoyf's good right now.
Yep.
Yep, he's going to copy the garden, make a chump blocker. Elliot Raff has had a lot of camera time.
And now if Anderson doesn't have a terminate, he gets killed. Yes.
He drew Kolagon's
Or
command.
Maelstrom Pole, something that kills this Primeval Titan. But next turn, Matthias can make an attack that gets Sunholm, and between that and the Slayer Stronghold, Anderson's either going to be dead or lose all of his board chump blocking. I'm getting my head around some of this stuff that's going on here.
There's a lot going on with this deck.
I got,
It's a deck that Edgar Mihalis has really helped put back on the map in Modern. Matthias, I've always been a big fan of this deck. Justin Cohen, too, getting second place at a Pro Tour with this deck.
But that was the souped up Summer
Oh,
Bloom.
yeah, Summer
That was a
Blooms
very
and-
different deck.
Oh, yeah. So here's Bloodbraid Elf probably. Hope to run good with the Cascades.
Just hit a Maelstrom Pulse or Terminate, I guess.
Never hurts to try. Fatal Push.
Yeah, that's not it, though. The Tarmogoyf is not lethal, and the Bloodbraid Elf can't attack.
Yeah, it looks like Anderson could knock Hunt down to 1. Hunt will have to discard a card. He'll have to discard his Vesuva.
But if you leave yourself, if you attack with everything and leave yourself naked on the way back, then
The chance of him dying would be very high.
You're dead.
Would be very high. Anderson trying to figure out what card he wants to discard here. He's got a Bloodbraid Elf and a Kolaghan's Command in hand. It's a tough decision. Looks like he's going to discard Bloodbraid Elf. And here's an attack with these two. Primeval Titan will Haumph that, which means the Tarmogoyf is going to hang back on defense. 6-7 versus a 6-6. I put 6-6 in air quotes there because Primeval Titan become a lot larger than that. So Hunt is going to untap. Let's see if he can get the job done this turn. I'd have to imagine that he can.
I think in this spot, I would have preferred for Anderson to keep his hands on the Bloodbraid Elf, because if you want to leave back and block this turn, I think you got to hope that your block is good enough to survive, and then Bloodbraid spins you into a Terminate. I don't know what the Kolaghan's Command here is doing, unless you're making an attack to try to push Hunt down to 2 or less. And if Anderson's trying to hang back and block, that doesn't seem to be the line either.
So the big problem here for Matthias is because he doesn't have an Amulet of Vigor, it means that searching up Sunholm with Primeval Titan, it will not enter the battlefield untapped. So I'm not sure what he drew for the turn.
But even in the worst case scenario, he just goes +2/+0 in Vigilance, attack your Liliana, accrue more material, and then go for it next turn.
Okay.
Hunt would obviously prefer to just win the game this turn instead. He's searching out that line, but the backup plan here of knock out your Liliana the Veil, draw some more cards, set up my shop a little bit more. It's not a bad
get another Titan.
Not a bad consolation prize, yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious about what he drew for the turn, though.
So the second Titan is not bad if that happens to be the thing that comes up. But I think Hunt wants to be a little bit careful about a line of play that ends with Anderson's not dead and I have a second Primeval Titan on the table, because then Maelstrom Pulse is you might run out of ways to win the game at that point.
How many Maelstrom Pulses in there?
2.
Okay.
Just something to be mindful of, in this spot. I'm sure Hunt has logged quite a few games against Jund over the years, so he knows that this is a concern, but just for all of us watching, if Matthias takes an awkward line that involves not getting a second Primeval Titan on the table for whatever reason, it is probably informed out of respect for Maelstrom Pulse off the top.
Yeah, and there are other things that he can search for. He does have Walking Ballista. That's a card he can search for with Teleria West. His Engineer Explosives is gone, and he could also search for. He could also have his Summoner's Pack search for a Reclamation Sage, which is rather unlikely. Secure a Tribe Scout, Azusa Lost But Seeking, things like that.
Walking Ballista is a really nice card to get in the spot. It's almost impossible to get killed in combat with that card available.
Yep. Now, the Kolaghan's Command does muck things up a little bit.
That's
but
true.
Ultimately, I think that in a lot of instances, Walking Ballista, and even in this one, it's not bad. So there's Simic Growth Chamber. Does he have a Teleria West left? Yeah, he does. Okay. He'll get T-West back to his hand. Okay. We've seen that song and dance before. And again, Titan is an 8-6, Vigilance Haste, and Trample. Tarmogoyf says, what's up? Liliana going to fall down to 1. Tarmogoyf down. Okay. So now Hunt can go Transmute for Green Pact with a green mana floating. Green Pact for Big Papa Titan, and do all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, this set of events here is why I wish Anderson had kept the Bloodbraid Elf instead of the Kolaghan's Command. He would have I think a pretty reasonable shot of winning this game with a Blood Braid to follow up here.
Just if it hits a Terminator or a Pulse or something?
Yeah, he's just good. Now, that Kolaghan's command doesn't really add anything to the equation here.
That said, if he does peel a Terminator or something like that, he might just win the game.
That's true.
Because Hunt would be out of Primeval Titans at that point. This will be his fourth one if he searches for Green Pack, and Green Pack gets Titan. So, do this. And cast this. Okay. So now trigger, search up some lands. Could be time for that Sunholm, finally.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he has anything really better to set up from the spot, and the Sunholm should be good enough to win the game next turn.
There's Sunholm and Selesnya Sanctuary. Trigger, get back Kalani Garden. Play the Garden. Get an Elliott Raft Plant token. And yeah, all right, that's all I got. Your turn. Please don't draw Terminator Maelstrom Pulse. He drew Blackleaf Cliffs. And I can see what you mean now about discarding the Bloodbraid Elf as opposed to the Kolaghan's command.
Yep. You could have talked me maybe into keeping the Kolaghan's command if Anderson was plainly trying to race and get Matthias in range. But since he hung back with the Tarmogoyf, the sum of the line just doesn't quite line up for me.
Matthias placed it down on top of his deck to make sure that he pays for the Summoner's Pack. Got plenty of mana to do that with. Mana is definitely not a bottleneck anymore for his deck. There's Kolaghan's command. We could see maybe Shock, kill the plant token, return Tarmogoyf.
Sure.
Maybe just deal you 2. Yeah, I like killing the plant token.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to make Liliana off the top, or if for some reason Matthias can't do anything about the Liliana on the table, he wants to make that relevant.
Yep. Liliana make Matthias discard his Cavernous Souls, which was his draw last turn. Now we're going to go over to Hunt. Hunt is going to pay for his Pact. And now he'll get access to all the rest of his mana. So now with Slayer Stronghold and Sunholm, I want to believe he can win. He'll pay it like that. Draw. So yeah, red, white. So he's got access to plenty of mana. Drew a forest for the turn, which doesn't matter all that much. Titan's still going to get to attack, which means he'll get his Titan trigger, get 2 lands. I imagine he's got at least 1 more bounce land to get back, maybe replay a plant token, something like that. I'm just curious who he wants to attack this turn. I think he just goes after Billy.
Well, he gets 16 points of total damage in that way. I think if you're not lethal, you have to get the Liliana off the battlefield, I think.
You think so?
I mean, even if you make a plant for all your troubles, if Anderson draws a removal spell and then just edicts your Primeval Titan, it's really bad.
It is bad news. This is kind of interesting. I'm not really sure where he's supposed to go. Hey, I think he says I'm going to just go after you.
Yep. I mean, this will force the Tarmogoyf to chump block here,
Yep.
which is a win. I'm just interested to see how does Matthias want to cover himself against the Liliana.
Okay.
He obviously has that.
Ooh, Bojuka Bog is nice.
Oh, okay, never mind. Then you're just dead.
That'll probably shrink Tarmogoyf in a relevant way.
Okay, yeah. And at that point, maybe this attack is just lethal, requires 2 chump blocks.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because now Anderson's working with however much toughness here.
Yeah, Tarmogoyf has gotten... I have to imagine Tarmogoyf has gotten significantly smaller.
Right.
Matthias' graveyard, it has a creature, it has a land.
The Pact.
So instant. It has an artifact. Engineer Explosives.
Right.
So at least a 4/5. Sorcerer with Explorer, so 5/6. So yeah, I guess it's still a pretty big Tarmogoyf. Now here's a double block. I think we're going to obviously put Tarmogoyf first. And then the Sunholm should allow Matthias to kill this by giving his Primeval Titan double strike until end of turn. So let's see, 6. So 8.
It's 16.
So 16 minus 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now he's going to copy his Calling Garden. There's a plant token. Removal spell will make this a game. I didn't get a good look at what that draw was. But if Billy Anderson drew something like a Fatal Push, Kolaghan's Command, there's a bunch of good cards here for him to draw. This, I don't know what it is.
Looks like Lightning Bolt.
Looks like, I mean, it looks like a spell. Hill minus. What did he draw? Lightning Bolt. No, no, oh no.
Okay, well. Drew it, but
oh no.
Not the right sequencing.
Not the right sequencing at all. As he could have killed the plant token with the bolt and then minus Liliana. Matthias Hunt going to win game number 1 here over Billy Anderson. Amulet Titan. Maybe squeaks that one out. I think Matthias may have some difficulty winning had those spells been sequenced correctly. Either way, a couple messages from our sponsors. We'll go to here for game number 2.
Go. Go.
We are back and right here for game number 2 between Billy Anderson and Matthias Hunt. You're reaching for your stamper. Why?
Player shovels twice in 1 turn. Matthias did plenty of that.
Yeah, you win that one for sure. John Amulet Titan getting ready here for game number 2. We'll start with Billy Anderson's sideboard. He's got 3 Full Intermage, 2 Ancient Grudge, 2 Collective Brutality, 2 Kitchen Finks, a Fatal Push, Graph Trigger's Cage, Nile Spellbomb, Engineer Explosives, Hazoret the Fervent, and a Golgari Charm.
The 3 Fulminator Mages obviously stand out at the top of the list here. I also like the Ancient Grudges. It's just so important to kill the amulets, even if there are no other artifacts in the deck. If you manage the amulets, the rest of the deck is a lot more reasonable. You saw Anderson was kind of able to fight just with regular removal spells and planeswalkers.
Other side of things here for Hunt, he's got 3 Obstinate Bailoff, 3 Spell Pierce, 2 Dismember, 2 Relic Progenitus, Hornet Queen, Fire Spout, Kozak's Return, Mortuary Mire, and a Rurik Thar the Unbowed.
I imagine that some of these creatures are for matchups like this where there's enough removal to slog through the Primeval Titan. So the Rurik Thar and the Hornet Queen are part of that, I'm sure. I wouldn't even be surprised to see the Obstinate Bailoffs come in either.
I like Obstinate Bailoff in this matchup.
Yep.
Easy to cast on turn number 3. good against Liliana, which is a card that's obviously good against the deck. So this should be kind of interesting as these players get ready here for game number 2. Amulet Titan is always been one of my favorite decks, even when it had Summer Bloom. I think it was maybe a little too good when it had Summer Bloom, but it's so unique to Modern that I really do like the deck.
Right, it leans into the 2-mana lands from Ravnica, plus these weird lands with enter the battlefield triggers, plus these Boros lands that happen to work really well alongside Primeval Titan. It's an interesting collection of cards. I don't know if it was necessarily too good with Summer Bloom. I think it might have been, but it was more that it was just too stupid. Like the draws that deck got sometimes were just...
They're too good.
All right, I'm just dead on the second turn, I guess, or you have 10 mana in play on turn number 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And I think cutting off the edges there, but basically allowing the deck to stay intact, I think is a fine landing spot.
This is a much more fair version of the deck.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine.
It still does its thing. It just doesn't have the 5 to 10%. Oh, that was just totally stupid. I was dead before I even took a turn sort of experience.
Like that last game we watched, totally fair stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
You know, nothing like out of bounds for Modern.
Right, no.
You know?
Matthias was doing his thing, but it mattered that Anderson had creature removal.
Oh, yeah.
And
oh, yeah.
The souped-up version of this deck, it didn't matter if your opponent had creature removal.
Nah, you shrugged that off.
Right.
It was so easy.
Definitely sorcery speed. Sorcery speed didn't even matter at all. Sometimes an instant speed one could matter, but Liliana the Veil would not have been sufficient against the previous build of this deck.
Well, we'll get ready here for game number 2. Of course, I want to thank you guys at home for joining us. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan, we're here in the booth. Nick Miller over in the sideboard. He's already got one deck tech done with Owling Mine, Jeff Hoagland in his owl suit. 1-1 so far this week. And as Jeff, we sat down with him for a deck tech in the sideboard, so we'll have that for you a little bit later today. Going to be going over Dominaria cards all weekend long. And of course, we do want to hear from you at SCG Tour, hashtag SCGMKE, taking questions at the beginning of round number 5, of course. Want to interact with you, the audience, the... what do we call the audience at home?
Commentariat.
The commentariat. Thank you very much.
There's a lot of descriptors.
Yeah.
Some more suitable for the air than others.
That's true. That's true.
We'll go with the Peanut Gallery.
One of your favorites.
Classic.
Yeah. The Peanut Gallery, the commentariat, so on and so forth.
The rabble.
That's a word that doesn't get enough play.
Nowhere near enough play.
I think it's a good word.
Yeah. Rabble, definitely nowhere near enough play.
Let's see, what do we got here on my bingo board here? We have an expedition that last game? I don't think so, right?
No expeditions.
6 power Neither Reliquary. That's asking a lot because I don't think anyone's going to play Neither Reliquary this weekend. Haven't seen any Delve spells yet. Nope. A little unusual. Card has 5+ counters? No, right? Haven't seen anything like that?
No.
We have Scavenging Goose from Tenjum, but nothing beyond that.
No Dark Depths, no.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Well, Dark Depths isn't legal.
Oh, that's the one that's the piece that's banned. That's right.
Yeah. That one's not going to see that.
I know you weren't allowed to do the thing. I just didn't recall which was the piece that was actually banned.
Got it. 5+ creatures attack at once, and so no. This Merfolk score is a joke. Dark Confidant, did that reveal land yet?
No, it revealed Bloodbraid and then traded.
Yeah, you're right.
Tenjum's did.
It did?
Yeah, he revealed land number 5 for the stopping ground so he can attack with the Ravine.
Thank you.
I have no idea how I was able to recall that, but that did happen.
We haven't had a player cycle a card yet.
No.
Haven't seen Street Wraith on camera yet. Okay.
Well, what is the exact language of Teleria West?
It's Transmute.
Transmute. That's right. Yeah. Not cycle.
No, not cycle. Tarmogoyf is here for Billy Anderson. Matthias will draw a card. Still starts for both players. No 1-mana spells as Matthias will just play a Teleria West, and pass the turn back. Here's Dark Confidant. That is an attack with a Tarmogoyf. Let's see what this is. Dismember? All right. Gonna take care of Bob. At the expense of 4 life, Tarmogoyf will grow into a 2/3. Actually, let's make it a 3/4 because an instant and creature just went into the graveyard. Hunt with a Gemstone Mine. 3 mining counters. And now I think we'll see Azusa. Land 1 will be Simic Growth Chamber. Pick up this Gemstone Mine. And now pick up a Teleria West with another Simic Growth Chamber. So now we could see a card like Fulminator Mage work its way into the equation. It'll be good if it does show up.
Yep. Matthias now with enough mana to work with here, as he has 5 mana in play plus the Gemstone Mine in the hand. Tolaria wants to go get the Primeval Titan, maybe over the course of 2 turns. He's well set up here. This be a great spot, as you mentioned, for Fulminator Mage.
Tarmogoyf the draw. Is it Bloodbraid Elf? It is. Let's Cascade. There's a mountain. Raging Ravine. Fulminator Mage.
There you go.
Good spot for it. That's what Billy Anderson needed. Now, ideally, he'd be able to get this Azusa off the battlefield as well. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. But this is still a pretty good turn nonetheless. Here comes Bloodbraid and Tarmogoyf. Attack here for 6. Hunt is going to fall down to 9. Fulminator Mage is going to take care of a Simic Growth Chamber. Pass the turn back. Hunt is going to very quickly untap and draw. Remember, he gets to play 3 lands this turn. Question is, does he have 3 that enter the battlefield untapped?
Well, he has the Gemstone Mine. I mean, if he has Primeval Titan, I guess the one potential route here is that you can play a land untapped, transmute for a 2-mana land, play that, pick something up, and replay it, and that gets you to 6 the following turn. But Matthias is now at 9, facing quite a bit of pressure, so that line might just be too slow.
Yep. Three mana. Here's Tolaria West. We transmute in that powerful land. Future Sight uncommon. Your favorite set.
An absolute banger of not very good to worse ideas, all rolled together. This design's actually kind of sweet. I think it's better than you're supposed to do for this sort of thing. But it's a cool card. Yeah, it's cool.
Gonna get the garden. And now another Gemstone Mine.
So it gets him to 6 mana again, maybe ready to go with Primeval Titan next turn.
Beatdowns. Beatdowns. We'll have Elliot Raff do some blocking here. Looks like gonna block just Tarmogoyf. He's just one of the 2 to block. Gonna fall down to 6. We'll hunt. Stomping Ground is going to enter the battlefield untapped there for Billy Anderson. Fall down to 16. Looks like we got a Tarmogoyf here, perhaps. We have Maelstrom Pulse to take care of Azusa, and now a Tarmogoyf. Billy will pass the turn back over to Hunt. Hunt will draw. We know he's got Prime Time in his hand. How good is it going to be? That's the question. Ghost Quarter the draw. No Raging Ravine out there. Well, we saw last game where Primeval Titan was able to more or less stabilize things and get the job done. It took all 4 of them.
Yes.
But he was able to finally come all the way back. Wasn't facing this battlefield down there.
No, this is an uphill battle right here. If the Azusa was still on the battle, I don't know how I feel one way or the other about Maelstrom pulsing the Azusa versus saving it for here. There is something to be said for that. If Matthias has the Azusa, then he has a really wide range of options to go get and play this turn, because he can get the 2 mana lands to pick up stuff and play it through Azusa, so he effectively gets things untapped. Still, Matthias very much behind here. I think you can see moving into the front here the copy of Hornet Queen, and I guess the ideal setup here would be, is there a way to survive this turn and set yourself up to tutor for the Hornet Queen next turn? Because the Hornet Queen is great against Anderson's board right now.
Radiant Fountain, Simic Growth Chamber. 2 life coming for Hunt. He's up to 8. Gonna get back Colony Garden, play that, make a plant token, and pass the turn back. Kind of cross the fingers here mostly. Tarmogoyf's only 4/5s at the moment. Blackcleave Cliffs, Treetop Village. That's the hand here for Billy Anderson, so not much going on for the Jund player.
Yep, and I think any good draw here might have been enough for Anderson to get over the finish line, but now it's tough. I mean, if you attack with everything, Matthias just puts the Primeval Titan. I'm guessing Primeval Titan in front of the Tarmogoyf, play in front of the Tarmogoyf, you fall to 5, and then, you know, what does next turn look like? Probably pretty bad. But you can't feel that confident just saying go here either, because Matthias is going to get an attack in and be able to set the stage up for another Primeval Titan. So it's worth noting that 9 mana is the flashpoint, where even if you have no cheating in play, your Primeval Titan attack can generate another Primeval Titan that's untapped that turn, because you can transmute, your Primeval Titan can attack and go get Teleria West plus a 2 mana land. You transmute the Teleria West for 3, you cast the Primeval Titan for 6. Matthias, I think, is exactly at 9 mana right now.
He is.
So he, in the worst case scenario here, he can attack with Primeval Titan, get 2 more lands for his trouble, and generate the resources here for another Primeval Titan that will be untapped.
What's interesting about the games we've watched on Matthias is that none of his 1-mana spells, there's an Ancient Stirrings, finally. You know, we haven't seen Amulet, we haven't seen Stirrings, some of the real payoffs for this deck, but we have finally seen it. Looks like he may have just found a Relic or Progenitus.
Well, Relic makes this pretty trivial here. If those Tarmogoyfs aren't effective blockers or attackers, then it shouldn't be too hard for Matthias to wrap this up.
So Ancient Stirrings will go to the graveyard, Relic Progenitus will go in a hand. That's a huge find there for Hunt. There is Relic. And now he'll blow the Relic to draw a card for some more information. Tarmogoyfs are just 0-1s now, and Hunt will draw a card. He's also found another copy of Primeval Titan in hand, and he's picked up a copy of Obstinate Baloth.
Yep.
So he's doing very well for himself now as Matthias. In what was already a pretty good matchup, I would say. And I think last game was actually a pretty good demonstration of how this matchup goes, where Matthias only had 5 cards and was able to win the game. It was quite the slog, but was able to do it. And this was a game where he needed his Primeval Titan to live. He got that to happen, and now he's doing good.
I mean, Jund does not interact very well against opposing lands, so that's, you know, doing a lot of stuff out of your mana is a good starting point. And they play with a lot of removal, but no counter spells. So creatures that have really powerful enters the battlefield triggers can be a weak spot as well. And Amulet Titan is about both those things. It's a lot about its lands, and it's a lot about Primeval Titan.
And it's also, I think, worth noting that even though the deck, it is named Amulet Titan, we're seeing the Titan half, we've not seen the Amulet half. The deck is, you know, it's on steroids when it has Amulet, but it functions fine without it.
I honestly would not be shocked if Matthias cut the amulets in this matchup.
Sure.
Because he's going to be playing against a lot of shatters, and with all the creatures that he's bringing in, he's really set up to grind and play a long game.
That's something like Obstinate Baloth. That kind of card allows him to do that. Millie will draw a card, picked up a copy of Thoughtseize. He's kind of useless now as that discard spell.
Yeah.
We might see him fire it off, but this is not the time or the place for a discard spell. He's got to beat what's on the battlefield, and he's going to have some real difficulty doing that. Beatdowns with a Baloth and a Primeval Titan. There'll be a trigger there on the Titan. Simic Growth Chamber and Teleria West. This is getting pretty easy here for Hunt. Once the ball gets showing like this, it's hard for almost any deck to win.
Well, and a lot of it is just once the Tarmogoyfs are trivialized, then you know, for a few turns, maybe you're in this sort of staring contest about whether or not it's profitable enough to attack. How do I slowly wear down these Tarmogoyfs and leave myself with enough Primeval Titans left over to do whatever I need to do? Once they become 0-1s or 1-2s, then you don't have to worry about your own life total, and you don't have to worry about the Primeval Titan dying in combat.
Double block here looks a little bit weird. Ultimately, he's just going to lose his entire battlefield. Hunt will probably just play another Primeval Titan or some other large green spell like Hornet Queen. Yep, and pass the turn back.
I'm usually not a fan of this. It's possible Anderson has something like Damnation in his deck.
Sure.
But probably harmless.
Matthias Hunt going to win this match over Billy Anderson, 2-0. Amulet Titan's going to take care of Jund, and for Matthias Hunt, he is off to a 3-0 start with one of his favorite decks, and hopefully one we'll get to watch more of later today.